Hi everyone, and welcome back to GISC 126, Fundamentals of GIS. And today I'll discuss the shape of the Earth in datums. So on that note, let's jump in. So what is the shape of the Earth? Everybody, or maybe most people, will probably tell you that the Earth is a sphere. But it's not exactly a perfect one. It's an oblate spheroid that bulges at the equator and is somewhat squashed at the poles. So why is it that it's kind of elongated along the equator but squished at the poles? Well, this is due to the Earth's spinning, and this centrifugal force pulls or makes the Earth bulge along the equator. So the term ellipsoid and spheroid are often used interchangeably. So you might hear people refer to the shape of the Earth as a spheroid. So an ellipsoid is just an approximate the shape of the Earth for different parts of the world. And we'll talk about this in the coming slides. So the degree of the ellipticity, or the flattening of an ellipsoid or an ellipse or a spheroid, whichever you want to call it, can be expressed as a fraction or decimal measuring the difference in the length of the two axes. And here we have the two axes shown in this picture here. So the major axis is the longest of the two axes, and it is on the x-axis. And the minor axis is the shortest and is on the y-axis. So it's important to note that the major axis is always longer, because if they were equal in length, then the ellipse would actually be a circle. So if the x and the y were the same exact number, it would be a circle. And we don't have a circle, we have an ellipse. So here in this table, there are three different datums. There is the NAD 27, which NAD stands for North American Datum in 1927. Then there's NAD 83 and WGS 84. So which we will discuss shortly. We're going to discuss all these different ones coming up, but note that each datum has a different ellipsoid name. Clark, 1866, GRS, 1980, WGS, 1984. Recall that the ellipsoid defines the shape of the Earth, and we can see that each ellipsoid varies in its shape slightly by the semi-major and semi-minor axis number, which is shown in bold. So why do we need different ellipsoids? Well, the Earth's surface is not perfectly symmetrical. So the semi-major and semi-minor axes that fit one geographic region don't necessarily fit another one. In addition, the Earth's spheroid deviates slightly from different regions of the Earth. So in looking at this slide, don't worry about knowing the measurements for the axes. Just make sure you understand the general concept of what's being discussed here. So an ellipsoid can be mathematically described by four parameters. The ones that we discussed earlier was the semi-major axis, the semi-minor axis, the degree of flattening, the ellipsoid's position with respect to the center of the Earth. So these four different things define the mathematical parameters of an ellipsoid. The first two are probably the more important to know in context for this chapter. This in turn, now that we've defined that the shape of the Earth is actually an ellipsoid, now the next question is, what is a datum? So the datum then fixes or positions that ellipsoid to the Earth's surface. So a datum provides a frame of reference for measuring locations on the surface of the Earth. It defines the origin and orientation of latitude and longitude lines. Therefore, a datum is chosen to give the best possible fit to the true shape of the Earth. So there are large number of datums in use. There's hundreds of them. Many of them are optimized for use in one particular part of the world or another. So one datum is not necessarily going to fit all parts of the Earth best. So that's why there's various different datums for different parts of the Earth. So there are two main datums. There's a horizontal datum, measures positions of latitude and longitude on the surface of the Earth, while vertical datums are used to measure the land elevation and water depths. So for this lecture in class, we'll be focusing on using just horizontal datums. So let's talk a little bit about local versus Earth-centered datums. So an Earth-centered or a geocentric datum uses this Earth's center of mass as the origin of point for the datum. So an example of this would be WGS 84 in the North American datum, or NAD 83. A local datum, on the other hand, aligns its ellipsoid to closely fit the Earth's surface in a particular area. So a point on the Earth's surface of the ellipsoid is matched to a particular position on the surface of the Earth. So that's going to be the origin point of the datum. So the coordinates of this point are fixed to the coordinates of all other points and are calculated from this place. So NAD 27 is an example of a local datum. It does not use the center of the Earth. It uses a specific location, which just happens to be Meade Ranch in Kansas. So here in this figure, the Earth's true shape, which is called a geoid, is shown by the black line. So the Earth-centered datum is represented in blue, and note how it does a fair job of representing the entire Earth's surface. So GPS units, for example, collect data in the WGS 84 datum. The local datum, on the other hand, is represented in red. Notice how it aligns to a small portion of the Earth's surface and does a great job for modeling that area, but it does a poor job in other areas, such as the southern hemisphere. So for example, the North American datum, NAD 27, would do a great job, or a fairly decent job, of representing North America, but it would be a poor choice of datum to use for Europe or Africa or Japan for that matter. So NAD 27, as I mentioned earlier, is a survey marker that is in Osborne County, which is in Meade Ranch, which is in Kansas City, or in Kansas. So the marker was initially placed in 1891, and from 1901 to 1989, it was the reference location relative to which all locations in the United States were measured. And from 1913 to 1989, it was the reference location for all survey in the continent. So I only mention these dates as a reference, and you don't need to know them. Following the establishment of NAD 27, it was noticed that it produced a discrepancy of about 33 feet in latitudes in the northern part of the United States in Michigan, which was necessitating a regional adjustment for the state of Michigan and Wisconsin. As the survey network was extended further north into Canada, similar discrepancies appeared. So this problem proved to be systematic. So to address this, a new datum was developed, designated NAD 83, and it replaced the Clark spheroid with the new ellipsoid, the Geographic Reference System 1980, centered at the Earth's mass, and is based on 250,000 control points compared to the 25,000 of NAD 27. So, in a lot of GIS data, or older GIS data used to use NAD 27, but now it is being updated to NAD 83. So why does all this matter? Well, all geographic coordinates, latitude and longitude, are tied to a datum. So it is important to understand which datum was used when your data was created, or the data that you acquired, because the position of the features may be different depending on which data was used. The coordinates below identify the same physical point on the Earth's surface, but the second value varied. This is due to the different ellipsoid associated with the datums. So the reason why this matters is because if you don't know what datum your data is in, you or someone else will have to guess which datum the data are in, and these greatly increase the probability of positional errors when you import your data into GIS. So understanding your datums is important, and we will go through some of this stuff in our lab assignments. So on that note, we should now understand the shape of the Earth and the importance of a datum and what a datum is. Talk to you in the next lecture.